Hi, and welcome to my classic blues solo for the month of June 2015. In this series, I am trying to teach some of my all-time favorite blues solos from songs from the 50s and the 60s, maybe even sometimes into the 70s. And the idea is that you break the solos down and learn the licks and learn more about where you can play on the guitar and some ideas that you can use in your own unique, creative ways. Or if you want to, you can just play the solo note for note and have fun with it, as I often do. The song, when I listen to it, One Kiss, it sounds like it's in B or possibly C. Sometimes I hear it in one or the other. So I'm going to play it in C, although with this guitar that I'm going to demonstrate with, it's kind of hard to get way up on the neck for one part that I'm going to have to, but I'll do my best. If it's a little clumsy, forgive me. The tune, the guitar solo, is not played by Jimmie Rodgers. Jimmie Rodgers is a great guitar player, and I've got a whole series of lessons on his stuff, but the solo on this song is played by Wayne Bennett, who is Bobby Bland's guitar player, and he did some sessions with other blues players, including obviously Jimmie Rodgers, and he appears on a couple different Jimmie Rodgers tunes that I know of. One Kiss is one, and there's another one I can't think of right off the bat. So in the key of C, the solo is based on the first position bar chord area. And in fact, the first part of it is pretty much right in the groove, pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of difficult stuff in this solo, but it's some ideas that I think really sound cool. So he starts out in the key of C, and I'll try to play the solo for you all the way through one time, and then we'll break it down. That is about as good as I can do it, and I am going to break that down for you. The first part, just your typical like Chuck Berry double stop rock and roll thing, and he's going from the 7th fret to the 8th fret, and he keeps a pretty steady beat the whole time. It's like this. He goes to a C9th, which he just rapidly strums. C9th chord. If you don't know this one, first position 9th, I've got my first finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string. My second finger is on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. My ring finger is on the 8th fret of the 4th string, and my pinky is on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And that is pretty sure, I'm almost positive what he's playing. Could be I don't think it's a 6. No, it's definitely not a 6. And then he's going to slide. It sounds to me, I don't know if I'm absolutely right on this, but it sounds like he's sliding from a second position C9th, which you play up here or down here on the 3rd fret with my first finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. First finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Second finger is on the C, 5th fret of the 3rd string. I'm sorry, 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then my pinky or my ring finger flattened out on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings at the 3rd fret. So he slides to an F9th, which is the exact same position. So he slides, hits it twice, kind of lets it ring, and then does it again. So the whole solo so far. He's going to go to this. On the really high on the 1st and 2nd strings. It's a double stop. It's like a C position. If I was playing it here, it would sound like if I played it here, that's the one. It's a C7 double stop. So if I'm playing in the key of C, I put my first finger on the 6th fret of the 1st string and my ring finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Just like this on the 2nd and 3rd string, which is a typical blues type thing. Chuck Berry used that to death in rock and roll. playing. But what he's going to do is go way, way up on the neck. And the exact pattern, you listen to the song and you'll get the exact rhythmic pattern. My first finger is on the 18th fret, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18th fret of the first string. And to do this on my guitar, I've got to take my second finger instead of my third finger and go to the 20th fret of the second string, which is quite a stretch. That's how I do it on here. So that's kind of hard to play. I don't think I've ever played that far on the neck on this guitar. So the solo, he goes, and then I think that's the pattern. And then he comes back up to the first position blues box and just plays in that blues box. I think he does something like this, where he, and I've got it tabbed out exactly. He bends up on the third string. I think it's like this. So from the 11th fret of the first string to the 8th fret, and then the 8th fret of the second string. And he bends up and kind of holds, slow bend up, and holds the third string, which he's bending at the 10th fret. I use 3 fingers. First finger on the 8th fret, second finger on the 9th fret, ring finger on the 10th fret. So like this. Then when he does that, he goes back to this for a little bit more. So that same double stop of the 18th and 20th fret. And then he comes back to another single string run. Something like that. So he's going from the 8th fret of the first string to the 11th fret of the second string. And then to the 10th fret. He doesn't go to the 8th fret of the second string, he goes right to the 10th fret of the third string. Something like that. And he winds up on the 10th fret of the fourth string, going up to the third string, 8th fret. Again. Something like that. And throughout this tune, Wayne Bennett plays these really cool fills. You know, he mixes it up. He just all over the place in that, just in that first position blues box. And then to wrap up the solo, he does something that I quite don't have completely figured out. So maybe you can help me with this, or you can figure this out yourself. But he's playing again in that first position blues box, but he does kind of this odd rhythmic thing. And so let me show you what I think he's doing. So he does the last part of the solo like this. He does kind of this choppy two-note thing. Something like this. Something like that. Something like that. And that's the part I just have been listening to over and over again, and it's just not clicking. And I'll try to tap it out. I'll listen to it again and try to get tabbed exactly. So it sounds to me like the first two notes, he's going from the 8th fret to the 9th fret on the third string. And then he's going from the 8th fret of the first string to the 11th fret of the second string. And then he's going to the 10th fret of the first string. And then from there, he's going to the 8th fret of the second string, like this. And then I can't hear, here it sounds like. So maybe from the 10th fret of the third string, and then he sounds like he's hammering on from the 8th fret to the 9th fret on the third string, and winding up on the 10th fret of the fourth string. So the whole thing, this is, I can't hear this right. And he winds up with a slide, a double stop slide. He's got his first finger on the 7th fret of the second string and his ring finger on the 8th fret of the third string. And he's going to slide into the C. And then wrap it up on the 5 by getting the 10th fret of the 5th string. So that whole last sequence, that's what I think he's playing. Let me do it real slow one time. Whoop. That's the hard part. Tough. Listen to it and see what you think, but it's all right there in that first position C blues box. So that is the solo for Jimmie Rodgers' One Kiss. And I may not be exactly right on that. If you know something different, tell me. That's part of the reason I do these videos, is not just to show people stuff, but also to try to learn some stuff too. If I do something wrong and someone tells me, then I can learn something. You guys who may know more about this than I do. So some of the lick ideas, lots of them. So this whole double stop thing, you could use that. Let's say you're playing in the key of A. You could go. You could do all kinds of licks on those high. That would be an A. You're in G. I botched the sliding double stops, but you get the idea. You can move that around. Another one is that simple. You can use that double stop. I forgot to show you one thing. He leads into that. So when he starts the solo, he doesn't just start with his. Sounds like he's doing a. He's doing some kind of little lead in, either from the 8th fret to the 9th fret on the 3rd string, something like that, or even 3 notes ending up on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. I think it's just 2 notes. And again, I'll have that tabbed out exactly so you can listen to it and figure it out. But that is the solo for Jimmie Rodgers' One Kiss. It's a 1-verse solo, but it's extremely powerful, and it mixes. He uses the double stop. He uses the chord. He slides. Goes to the really high note. He plays in the blues box. More high note. All sorts of things going on. And to me, that's like one of the most tasteful solos in all the chess recordings from the 50s and 60s. It's just smoking, as they say. Hope this lesson was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. A lot of these types of lessons are for guys who are just getting started in this kind of blues guitar and just trying to learn, some of the basic licks. And this is a song really constructed with simple ideas, simple licks, but played so powerfully and with an incredible tone if you listen to the original recording. I'll be back in July with another classic solo from another great song. I think I'm going to do Freddie King's What About Love, which is another one of my all-time favorites.